Well, hello, Forest Meadow, and welcome back to another episode of our Sermon Reflections. And for those of you who joined us on Sunday, you know that we spent a lot of time in the tail end of Acts chapter 2 talking about the closeness of fellowship that they had with one another, how they began to share all things with each other. And it was just this beautiful section of the church that had we had never really seen to this level before. And so it's just such an amazing passage for us to stop and consider and reflect upon. And as I was considering this, there was another passage that stood out to me in Colossians chapter 2, one which our parents' Bible study we studied just last night. But by the way, if you are interested in joining us for that parents' Bible study, let me know. We're happy to get you details. We meet on Monday nights, every other Monday night here at church. And so, but I want to read these first few verses for you in Colossians chapter 2. He says this, Paul speaking, "For I want you to know how great a struggle I have on your behalf, and for those who are at Laodicea, and for all those who have not personally seen my face, that their hearts may be encouraged, having been knit together in love, and attaining to all the wealth that comes from the full assurance of understanding, resulting in a true knowledge of God's mystery, that is, Christ Himself, in whom are hidden all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge." And boy, I think about this passage. I pray this passage very often for us as the body of Christ. Probably, if you've been tuning in for any time at all or come to Sunday services, you already know you've heard these things in my prayers that God would knit our hearts together in love. And this is what Paul is laboring after. He wants them to be encouraged. He wants them to be joined together. And the concept here is that you're taking several things and you're really just weaving them together. That really is the notion that's here. And Paul is trying to say that's how we should be, having been knit together in love. And then there's an output of all of this, and attaining to all the wealth that comes from a full assurance of understanding, resulting in a true knowledge of God's mystery, that is, Christ Himself, in whom are hidden all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge. You know, there's really something so beautiful about this passage, and it is this, that when we weave our lives together, when we are knit together in love, what happens is we begin to discover more things and learn more about who Jesus is. We begin to discover this hidden wisdom, these beautiful aspects of who Christ is as we get together, and one has an insight here, another has an insight here, another has an insight in this other place, and we join those things together, and the end result is this, that we have a full assurance of understanding, and we have this wealth of knowledge, wealth of true knowledge, not just like cerebral knowledge, but true knowledge of who Jesus is. And within Him are hidden all of these treasures of wisdom and knowledge. Boy, to me, this really just stresses what we talked about on Sunday, the need for good, genuine fellowship. We asked many questions that would point us along those directions, that would help us to really grow in our relationships with one another. And so this is just a really encouraging challenge, I would say. It is a challenge for those of us who perhaps we have busy lives, or perhaps we don't know a whole lot of people. But I want you to look at this and realize the types of blessings that come whenever we, as the body of Christ, whenever our lives are knit together. And then I want to just stress one more thing. If our lives are knit together or woven together, what does that imply about who is the one that knits us together? You know, we don't knit ourselves together necessarily. I think this is something that really takes place by God's hand. He takes us, weaves our lives together, and the output of that is that we grow deeper in our true knowledge and understanding of who Christ is. We know Him more deeply, and we can honor Him with the way that we live our lives. And so there really truly is an abundance, a wealth of knowledge, is what he says. There is a wealth that comes from this full assurance of understanding. And so the whole concept here is that even though God is infinite, we as the body of Christ, not me, but we together, are doing our best to wrap our arms around this massive trunk of a tree, and we're trying to grab hold of who our God is. And so I would challenge you and encourage you to come and join us. If you're a parent, you want to come join us for a Bible study, you're more than welcome to do that. Let me know if you would like some details. And if you don't come to our church, you're more than welcome to come. If you don't go to Sunday school, I would encourage you to start going to Sunday school, because here's where we discover so many of these types of gems that I just talked about. And so why don't we go ahead and move on to our questions for the week. Our first question is this: what enabled the believers to want to share everything? Number 2, why should I be in awe of God, and why should I fear him? Number 3, why did the believers in the early church have these emotions, this sense of awe or fear? Number 4, how did both the apostles and the other believers start this journey of growth of the community of believers? That's a very beautiful question by Dave. Number 5, how did the early church remain united? Number 6, what is the significance of the phrase day by day or every day as it pertains to their behavior? Number 7, why did they enjoy the favor with all of the people? Number 8, what caused the church to grow? Number 9, what draws anyone, including ourselves, to Jesus? And number 10, consider these questions that we talked about early on. Who am I learning from and with? With whom do I sow and reap and weep and rejoice? Who am I eating with and spending time with? And who am I praying for and praying with? Well, brothers and sisters, that's about all the time that we have for today. Just as a quick teaser, this upcoming week we're going to be looking at Peter and John as they walk up to the temple and they see this blind beggar who's wanting a handout, and he's there completely helpless. And, well, he doesn't receive the handout he's expecting, but he gets something much more than that. And so I would invite you guys to come and join us for that. And I think that's about all the time we have for today, but I want to say thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for taking the time to dig deeper into the scriptures, and I hope you have a great day.